Well, I got into fishing as a young lad. What happened is that I went on holiday, I went to the sea and I started crab fishing. And you know, from that minute where I was actually by water and just by wildlife, I just loved obviously my surroundings, and I just enjoyed it from the day go really. So I come back home and I was buzzing to get a fishing rod, and I just went on a local water just in the Midlands, just bream fishing, and you know, I started catching these bream. And you know, back in them days, you know, a bream to a young lad was, you know, if you caught one about £5–6, you was over the moon. So I caught my first one. I was absolutely over the moon with that, and it just led on really. I met a group of carp fishermen, and at the time really I didn't understand carp fishing, but there was a proper group of underground carpers on another local park lake. Yeah, got talking to them, and it just went on from there really. I started fishing all the park lakes around the Midlands, started, you know, catching very good fish. But before I actually started carp fishing, you know, my time coming up towards it, you know, there was these things called boilies. Obviously everyone knows now, massive thing, people don't go fishing without them. And I started right from the beginning really, where I wanted to know, you know, what are these round little balls? So I started looking into it, and I got into obviously making my own baits, and yeah, it went from there really, and it's developed into, you know, a love and a passion for obviously catching these historical carp, you know, and it's amazing when you can actually see them and obviously catch them. It's a great feeling, and it's just great to be out here. Well, one of the best situations I was in is that when I was fishing Blackroot, very hard venue, you know, very robust venue, in the meaning of that if the carp don't crack you, the dog walkers will. Blackroot, you know, these days not sure what's going on down there, but back in the day when you had a few good carp anglers on there, it was a challenge, but when you've got the fish going on a venue, you've got them going. And I can remember for 6 weeks solid, I had fish rolling over my bait, and yeah, I had the fish, and I had them all in one hit virtually. I'd done 3 years on there, and it was just a perfect situation where I was set up. I've been baiting this peg for 7 weeks. At this point, you know, baiting up to me was all new. You know, putting pre-bait in, you know, I was seeing people doing it. I was like, what are they doing? They're feeding the fish, blah blah. But you just learn, obviously. You know, I was a young lad fishing a park lake, and yeah, it was great when, you know, I sort of learned off other people, bait up, keep baiting up, you know. And I didn't fish that spot, and I'm sure if I can think back, I baited it up for a month and a half. And I was only on a push bike as well, so I used to ride my BMX all the way down with 3 or 4 kilo on, which, you know, 3 or 4 kilo these days to some people is, you know, not a lot, but back then it was a massive amount of bait, especially when you're rolling them by hand. And yeah, it was the right situation, right place, right time, and yeah, the fish was on my bait, and I nailed them. One of the best captures I had, again, was at a Blackroot. I had a 28-pound mirror, absolutely cracking fish, you know. I was only a young lad holding this massive fish, yeah, and you know, it sent shivers down my body when I actually netted it. I was aiming to water about this deep, and yeah, it was a great night. And I can remember it was 2 o'clock in the morning. I had about 4 bleeps, and I think I had Fox micros then, microns, sorry. And yeah, I had a couple of bleeps. Blue light come on. Blue light was the fashion back in them days, and yeah, it just went bloop, 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 bloop. Then it just one-noted, and I knew from speaking to obviously other people who have had it back then, is that fish was renowned to give you a few bleeps from just one note. And yeah, I hit into it and I played it in, and there was a bush to my right hand side, and yeah, it was a fantastic fight, and to be quite honest with you, that's probably one of the best carp I'll ever catch. I know there's a lot of bigger carp, and I've had, you know, that was 28 pounds, and I've had, you know, bigger carp since, but I just think that memory will stick in my life forever, really. Yeah, good old Blackroot days. Well, for me, modern day carp fishing is great, up and coming sport for young people. I do separate myself from obviously modern day carp fishing, if you want to call that. Fisheries, yeah, you know, you've got to go with the times. I think, you know, there is a lot of good fisheries out there, and you know, there's a lot of people who doubt them quite much. You know, I prefer myself to fish on gravel pits, park lakes, obviously canals, stuff like that. Even though I ain't done a lot on the canals, I've done quite a bit. I wouldn't say I was a specialist at canals because I'm still learning. You know, fishing gravel pits for all these years, and you know, these gravel pits what I go on to are you know, quite vast. They are a project for, you know, 2 years to 3 years plus, depending on the circumstances of using a boat, you know, and you know what you can go out and see and get out and see the carp and stuff like that, and even climb trees. But yeah, modern day carp fishing, I think, you know, it's positive. You know, there's a lot of fashion accessories out there what you don't need, but if you keep it basic and simple, you know, you can do your own thing. And yeah, there's a few venues what I've fished, you know, not by really my own choice, just by something what I've done as a social, or I've met people down there, and yeah, it's been good. So modern day carp fishing, not too bad. Just keep it old school though. Well, coming back to pit fishing, you know, I've fished on a lot of gravel pits. When you say best pit, oh god, I think Red House. I think Red House, which I can call it Red House now, but I used to call it the Big Pit. I think Red House was a very nice water, proper intimate. You know, you didn't have to go far out. You could wade your baits out. You could see the fish from up certain trees. Good group of carp anglers on there, and you know, there's still a good group of carp anglers on there. You know, I didn't manage to catch all the fish, but I had my fair share, and maybe I will return one day, but for now I'm enjoying fishing local waters, and getting really, you know, close to a few pits what I've wanted to fish for a few years, a lot more locally. But yeah, Red House was probably one of the best pits, and probably one of the hardest as well. So for pit fishing is Red House. As you can see by the mouth, not been caught before. Love this sort of fishing.